everyone, so today I will be doing a spoiler and a non-spoiler review of The Wicked King by Holly Black. So this is the second installment of the Folk of the Air series, and this book was released in 2019. I have mainly a positive review when it comes to the first book of the series, which is The Cruel Prince, so I'm really excited to share my thoughts regarding this book. So without further ado, let's just get started. So the story picks up 5 months after the events of The Cruel Prince, in which Jude made a deal with Cardan, and Cardan is now the king of Elfheim. Jude is now being his seneschal, and Jude is also secretly controlling him from behind. Jude also found herself entangled in an even messier politics as a traitor is plotting against her. So similar to the first book, which is The Cruel Prince, this book is also written in the first point of view, which is Jude's point of view. And I would say that, as in the first book, I also enjoyed reading her point of view. I might even say that I enjoyed her point of view even more in this book because her character is just so fleshed out and what she thinks makes sense. A lot of times I get really annoyed when I read a book from the first point of view because the character's motivation is just too biased, but I really couldn't get that problem in this one. The writing style of this book is also very similar to the first book. It is so gorgeous, so it really provides a good continuation from the first book. So I mentioned that I really like how Holly Black sets the tone for the political intrigue. She could really write a lot of whimsical elements in this fairy lands without making too out of this world, because I really think that her characters could make all the difference. They are not one-dimensional. Even though they're really evil and all, I could see that there are facets of them that are quite relatable. So in my opinion, Holly Black's writing style is really commendable as well. So the pacing of this book is rather quick. There's a lot of dialogues and the paragraphs are really short as well, similar to the first book. However, when compared to the first book, the pacing in this one is a little bit slow, and it also lacks that action element from the first book. I don't think there's that many of that milestone event that happens here. There's quite a lot of plotting and scheming element. Alright, so that will be the end of my spoiler-free section of this review. If you haven't read this book and you wouldn't want to get spoiled, I recommend you to click out on this video and maybe come back when you already read this video. But for those of you who had read this book or okay with spoilers, I would just start my spoiler review now. So first, I would like to talk about the characters in this book, and I would say that there are quite a lot of characters in this book, but I do think that all of them are equally interesting. Some of them I really want them to succeed. I really want to root for them, and some of them I'm really I just wish they would disappear. I'm looking at you, Taryn. So it's really poignant how Jude really wants her sister back. So there's this one moment in the book where Jude was brought back from the undersea and she stayed at Madoc, and she clung to Taryn, not knowing that Taryn's gonna betray her after that. And I think this scene has exponentially made Jude's character really likable. So the book can't really show that Jude is not so fierce and strong and one-dimensional, edgy all the time. She has this vulnerability. She has this want to be comforted, and that is so relatable. Not only relatable, but she's also believable in this one as well. So because of that, it's kind of easy to root for her, even though she doesn't have that moral compass of a saint. And at the end of the book, I would say that I became a proper Jude stan. I became her fan. So when she yelled frustratingly when she was whisked away from the fairy land to the mortal land, that is so sad. I just feel for her. I mean, at that moment, not only she did lose both Taryn and Madoc, but she also lost Cardan. So, oh my god, that is so sad. I'd like to point out that Jude's exile to the mortal world is probably Cardan just being Cardan, meaning Cardan just playing his game, or it's actually a big political plan all along, as opposed to Cardan wanting to hurt Jude, because at this point, it's kind of unbelievable if Cardan is just going to dismiss Jude all the way because he sacrificed Balakin's status as a prisoner in order to save Jude's from the undersea. So I guess there's probably a good reason why Cardan exiled Jude to the mortal world. We shall see in the third book. Like, I really want to read Cardan's point of view when he exiled Jude. Like, what was he thinking? What is he planning? But at the same time, I kind of don't, because this mystery surrounding the series is the one that makes me want to read more about it. And speaking of wanting more, I'm really happy that the book gave a lot of more Jordan moments as opposed to the first book. Now, I wouldn't say that a lot will be an absolute measurement, because I do think there's much more of like political intrigue and like plotting as well as scheming within this book. But I'm really happy how the book finally shows the readers more interaction between Jude and Cardan, and that interaction is also, in my opinion, the best scenes from the book. But also that interaction is so believable, because I don't think like both Jude and Cardan are the kind of characters that when they fall in love, they instantly change their characterization. So that's why their romance is very interesting to read. It's not that kind of romance that instantly turn them into this big fluff ball. Like, they are still set in their perspectives game. They're still ambitious people, so they don't really lose their characterization. There's so many twists and turns when it comes to their relationship dynamic, and I'm definitely here for it. So the world building in this book is pretty solid as well, and there's new setting that Holy Black gave us, which is the undersea, and I really like how Holy Blacks explains the cultures of the fairies as well. However, I do think that Cardan's magic system could be much more fleshed out, particularly his how his magic is tied to the land and all, because I feel like that point is kind of crucial, especially at the ending portion of the story. I wish Holy Black would kind of like foreshadow that point even more, just because I think that she did a great job at foreshadowing other things like the fairy wedding and how it doesn't need a witness because fairies can lie. So because I know that she could actually do it, I had a rather higher expectation when it comes to these kind of things. The story definitely makes me want to read more, and it makes me keep guessing, especially the part where Nicasia told Jude that someone Jude knows, already betrayed her, and my mind was instantly went to Taryn, because she was kind of suspicious even from the beginning. Like, she was so nice to Jude, like she's trying to mend their relationship here and there. However, it's not in the manner that she sincerely wants to apologize. It's like she wants to mend the relationship effectively and efficiently, like she has a goal behind it. But in the middle of the section, I found out that it's actually the ghost. Oh my god, didn't see that coming at all. But maybe it was hinted because his characterization is a bit distant, and the fact that he was there when Cardan was about to be shot by Nicasia. So after the book revealed that the ghost is the one who betrayed Jude, foolishly let Taryn off the hook. And boy oh boy, I was so wrong, because after that, I found out that Taryn is also working with Maddox against Jude. Oh my god, there's so many twists and turns in this book, and that scheming and plotting is definitely everything. So this is definitely a highly recommended book, especially if you read the first one and you like it. And even though you read the first one and you don't like it, even though you're kind of like disappointed by, let's say, the romance of the first one, I do think that this one can rectify that thirst. And I read a lot of reviews that many people actually prefers this one better than the first book because of the characterization and also the political intrigue. So this book is definitely highly recommended to all of you who read the first book, whether you like it or you don't like it. So overall, I think this book is such a breeze for me. It's a quick read, it's easy to follow, and it's really interesting. The writing style of the author is also my forte. I really like the fact that Jude as a main character is an active character rather than a character that is slave to the plot. However, I would say that this book isn't as action-oriented than the first book. I would say that I like the first book more than this one, because I just think that action scenes and like milestone events in the first book is much more intriguing to read. With that being said, I still really like this book and I would still give it a 4 out of 5 stars. So that was today's review of The Wicked King by Holly Black. I hope that this review will help you in determining whether this book is worth your time. Please let me know in the comment section below whether if you want to read this book, or if you have read this book, please share your thoughts. I would like to thank everyone who made it through the end. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope that your tea will always be warm for reading.